Okay, so we are live now. So hey everyone, I welcome you all to today's Meshery development meeting. Today is 10th July 2024. And let me give, if you are new to today's meeting, let me give you what Meshery is and what we do in Meshery development meeting. So Meshery is a cloud native manager, which helps you to manage your multi-cluster cloud and infrastructure and collaboratively. If you want to learn more about Meshery, you can check out the docs.meshery.io. There is so much to learn about. So you can check that out. Uh, about in this meeting. So in this meeting, we discuss about various features, updates, and issues being fixed by community managers, community members, and maintainers. So we do have a couple of agenda items today, and I'm sure a couple of people will be adding more. So before going to the topics and working on discussing on them, we do also have a couple of housekeeping items. One of is to make sure that you add your name in the attendees list. And I'm sure someone will share the link in the chat. And other than that, is if you are new to today's call, we always encourage newcomers to introduce themselves. It's a great opportunity for you to connect with maintainers and members of the community. So if you are new to today's calls, you can unmute yourself and give a small introduction, maybe your name, where are you calling from, or what do you like. So yeah, who would like to go next and give a small introduction? Vidit, I think you are new. Maybe you would like to go.
Hi, my name is Vidit Pushpa, final year student doing my Bachelor's of Technology in Metallurgy and Materials Engineering from National Institute of Technology, Rourkela. So I am a tech enthusiast and I love creating application that stays on the internet. And yeah, moreover, I love taking parts in hackathons and building stuffs.
Thank
So
you.
I'm new to the DevOps.
Thank you, Vidit. I like the part that you said. I like building something that stays on the internet. Who would like to go next and share about something? Anish, maybe you are joining first time.
Yeah. So I'm Anish. I'm a full stack developer working at a startup in the US. I recently graduated from Boston University with my master's in computer science. And I like developing apps and making something that people use. Yeah, and I'm eager to contribute. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, Anish. Thiago, you can go ahead.
Uh, Hi everyone. So I'm Thiago Marcolino. I'm based in Portugal, DevOps and backend engineering. So I'm that's my second development meeting. So I have been attending it from the scope of the Linux Foundation mentorship program.
Thank you,
That's
Theo.
it.
Thank you, Theo. Kenneth, maybe you would like to go next. Kenneth Kako, if I'm pronouncing it right. Okay,
The
no.
platform for agencies and enterprises. Intern website layout.
Okay, no issue. If you have any audio issue, you can anytime like introduce yourself in the chat and we will make sure that we are welcoming you. So let's move forward with the agenda items. And if anyone left with introducing, I will encourage them to introduce yourself in the chat.
Hey Yash, is my voice clear?
Yeah, your voice is clear.
So I'm Clint George. I'm a pre-final computer engineering student from Mumbai, India. I'm a full stack developer, though I'm not so good at backend yet. I'm still exploring. Uh, I'm looking forward to contribute to this project, also learn the project as well. And
Great,
of course,
Clint.
I'm grateful to have such really experienced mentors like you and Nicole. Yeah, looking forward.
Great, Clint. For sure, there are many things that you can put your hands in. So let's move forward with today's agenda item. So first, our agenda item is from Anish. Anish, you can go ahead and share your screen and share about your update on lifecycle connection.
Uh, yes, I'm just starting my development server, so I think it'll take a bit.
No issue. You can also share the PR. Let me share that. I have already shared the PR if you wanna share about your update.
Yeah, sure. So can I like tell it like with your screen?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So I just changed the color of the environment uh selection box to white. The previously it was like in dark mode it was still black, so the color wasn't visible to the users. So I just changed that to white, and when the theme is in bright mode, I changed it to black so that it's still visible. That's the changes I did.
Okay, thank you. It would be nice if you can add the screenshot and description so that it would be easy to review what color
Yeah,
you used.
yeah, the screenshots are there in the bottom, like in the comments. Go a bit to the down.
Okay, I guess my machine is running slow, but yeah, okay. So you
Yeah,
did edit and you make sure that you are using the theme color, right?
yeah. I did.
Any question for Anish on this?
No, I guess it's maybe the other way of phrasing it is to that he would have used the theme reference and not necessarily explicitly the color, but just a reference to whatever the token is for the color, which I suspect Anish did, but just actually it's very easy to miscommunicate as engineers. Because of literally what Yash said was, did you use the right color? You're like, yes, but actually what Yash means is, did you use a theme reference, which would have the effect of using the right color? And so,
Oh yeah, Lee. I use theme color from
perfect.
the light the themes in the theme.app.
Okay, now I'm not convinced. I was a second ago. If you go look at the changed files real fast, the question is just, is it a reference? Is it a theme-based reference, or are you explicitly calling out the color
No, it's
by?
theme-based reference.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. Nice. Awesome. How did you find the UI to be, or the code to be um, messy?
You mean the code base?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit inconsistent because some in some places we use like colors directly and not theme based, and some places we use theme based colors. So I was confused like what to do. And also, I saw like you mentioned to use system theme colors. So I went ahead and added system theme myself before, but then someone said like we don't need that. Use themes that are already exist. So I removed that and I use the themes that already exist.
Yeah. Interesting. It's super surprising to me that between some of the people that have worked on this for a long time, like Sudhanshu and Yash, and there's a number of others on the call, maybe Akshay, Antoinette, the fact that this is not evident or obvious to a new contributor like Anish, how do we correct that?
I think I'm not sure about if we are using the assistant theme yet in this, if someone can confirm. Other than that, I was also have a comment that we don't need to have a check mark for dark and light mode. Like you can choose a color which the purpose of using theme pair is to dynamically change according to dark and light mode. So we don't need this if else check if you would.
Okay, good. We should come back and cover that again with Anish. But actually, let's go back to my question. So Antoinette, Akshay, Sudhanshu, others. So we're not using assistant as a theme here, or we are? If we are, is that evident? And do we have precedent for how to use it?
Yes, like we can use system theme using our we use a system wrapper. Use system
Yeah,
wrapper,
but
which
that's not what I'm at. Yeah, okay. No, but are we using the theme?
yeah, not in every places, but we are using system can be used and it's used
Okay.
and it's
And so we
token.
have, okay. And so we have precedent for it, but we need help from folks like Anish to see it through, to propagate its use. Is that right? So,
Yes, yes.
Antoinette, is that about right? Or would you characterize it differently? Are we ready for the assistant theme in Meshery UI?
I
Yep.
think
Antoinette, you're not there. How about Akshay? I'm not sure if we can continue on Meshery UI if we don't have direction on how to do it.
I don't think we are yet able to do it in Meshery UI because like Meshery UI supports both Dart and Light theme and insistent it is not quite um, formatted based on the themes we want. So either we have to change a lot of stuff in Meshery UI to make sure that we use system colors throughout. That's why I think it's not ready completely, but we are using it in different places for models and I think the data table as well. So those can shift to system theme colors.
Okay, it's good. I don't know that I'm clear. What's the direction?
Like right now in the same code, it's the use theme has been imported from Material UI. It should be imported from layer 5 system because we can import it from there and then use the system tokens there
Great.
if we want to
Sudhanshu,
use it.
you said we have examples of this, Sudhanshu?
Yes, like the models, tables, everywhere we are using that. And use theme can be used. But this use theme is that like he's importing from material UI, it can be used from system itself. But the
Great.
thing is that this component, this multi-select wrapper, actually this is a not a material UI component, not a system. It's a different React multi select wrapper. This need to be migrated to material UI first. Otherwise, those classes will not work here. This is entirely a different component.
Okay. So I'm not sure what direction we're giving Anish or other contributors.
Yeah, the direction is like not using first of all the V4 components, this MUI/core, it should be directly material UI and use theme from directly from system, and there are tokens already listed, which is displaying in layer 5 website also, that what tokens are used and what its name, and it then can be directly passed to the style component. And
I
it
Just
think
a
can,
question, just a question,
most of
Sudhanshu. Yeah,
sorry, like
so
most these components are already present from system, like the wrapper components for these are in system, so you can directly use them, and also the theme and style are also present from system, so you can also do that rather than using MUI V4 or like V5 whatever, directly use some system rather than using MUI.
yes, I'm just like referring to the any single component.
so I have a question. Uh, you told me to like use system, right? If I do that, will the use system be able to identify if the current theme of the whole website is dark or light?
Yeah, because that's where the theme comes from the system. So basically, like if you want to use any system component, you have to first wrap it. Like it use system is like you have to wrap anything you want to use from system. After that, you would have access to the theme from system, and you can then use style components and anything themed stuff from system.
Okay, got it. So I should use system here right now
Yeah,
for this. Okay,
yeah.
makes sense. Got it.
Do we have
I
this
can change that.
documented in the, yeah. You guys, it's actually a quick answer if this is documented in the contributing to Meshery UI page. Do we know, is this in there? Like the approach
No, I
to you.
think it's not.
Nice. Hey, Anish, there's a, I know you're looking for the next area to contribute to. Like
Yeah.
the pain that you're experiencing here, you might be able to save hundreds of others by helping point out like, hey, we're missing that in the contributing guide. Have you, by the way, out of curiosity, have you seen the specific guides for the different systems or the different components within Meshery? It's in the
Yeah, I've gone through a few of them, but I don't remember most of it.
Yeah, okay. Good. So yeah, you found your way to them, and then we should make sure that these specific instructions are there. Otherwise, we'll just never get there. Like is anybody taking that action item?
Yeah, I'll take that.
No. That would be okay, except I didn't hear a clear answer from you or clear direction. Okay, I'll follow up.
I will add it.
Okay. Thank you, Abid.
Okay, so
Okay,
I should work on it after you add it, right?
If you are clear, you can work on it. I will add the documentation separately. If you are not clear, you can check the documentation.
Okay, I'll try to do it by myself. Okay, thanks.
Thank you,
thank you,
Anish.
Anish.
Yep, no problem.
Chris, you are next, so you can share out your update and share the screen.
Sure, yeah. So first, just update on this. I can share my screen here. Guys seeing this? So this is just update on this PR. So we went through some rounds of revision on this first Rego policy with some help from Anders. And managed to, I think, end up with a sort of compliant and simplified policy. I know this first policy isn't actually being used much or at all in the system. So I have a few more changes just based on this feedback to push to this before it's kind of in a good place. And then my plan was to start looking at the Kubernetes policies that are in use in the system now that I'm a little more familiar. And work towards getting everything compliant with the linter and and hopefully add some unit testing to these as well. So this is mostly just an update, and in case anyone had any feedback or anything about this before or need a different direction.
I think like one of the major changes that you did in this PR was like changing the version like to the next version of Rego syntax, I think. Like using the latest Rego syntax versions, features.
Yeah, right, this V1 stuff.
Yeah. So like for the existing policies, which syntax are we using? Like, do we need to update that also?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd take it this way because this seemed to be where all the current documentation seemed to be indicating, meaning, I guess to me, that this was where things were headed, but it does seem to be a little bit like future tense right now. So I don't know if there's any guidance from anybody on whether we prefer to like hold back or plan for the future with this V1 stuff.
Yeah,
I think basically like as far as you know, like this latest syntax of Rego is a bit more declarative and easy to understand rather than the older one that's a bit more imperative and kind of. So I think we should be moving to the next version because it will help making those policies more readable and maintainable. So yeah, and also we have just I think 4 or 5 policies, so it's easy to go ahead right now than doing that in future. So yeah, this is great work, I think. And I think, I don't know, like we don't use this policy, but this would help with the other policies now.
Yeah, I think this is a bit of a learning exercise for myself. As you said, I think some of this is I think there's a bit of a learning curve, I think.
Yeah.
Especially with the old syntax. The new syntax is a little better or a little easier maybe.
This is super exciting work actually from a few different perspectives. One is that the OPA maintainers are weighing in and participating. That's lovely. Just if any amount of intrigue that you might continue to offer to them so that they have a consistent engagement, that's great. And these are really, really important. I mean, if Meshery is providing a collaborative experience, and much of its novelty, much of its offering to users is that experience. While I can do orchestration and that's quite important and wonderful, but of the way that it brings teams together, or the way that I'm going to say the word again, I guess, experience, the experience that it delivers, like this is no small part of the magic sprinkles there for just the system having a lot of intelligence. And anyway, we've not shown much of a light on this area, not nearly to the extent that it is needed. And so just the activity and the building of momentum here, wonderful. There's a few things that pop to mind that outside of keeping the OPA maintainers engaged and intrigued, and so one of the questions that I have that could be placed toward them, perhaps, and this might be a relatively easy one for them to answer, maybe harder for us to answer, and that is that as we think about ultimately potentially running these Rego policies in WebAssembly, in browser, that environment they've advised that environment is constrained in terms of the support for built-in Rego functions. And given our, what's the right word? Given our green-eared sort of junior experience here, it would be hard pressed for me to imagine that we are using advanced built-in functions or that we're doing things beyond the sort of core. And so the question is, is it about 8 or 10, or like maybe 10 or less policies that we have? Of those and of the functions that we use, are we out of bounds of the scope of support within that WASM environment already? And if not, I mean, I guess that's just sort of the yes or no question up front, but like, if not, it's super tempting to start to potentially prototype around that, or like as maybe that's 4 steps down, but it's one question. And the other one is, the other thing that I'll highlight is you mentioned the possibility of maybe a unit test here or there. First of all, the linting is, this is just great. This is really helpful. But then the unit test, yep. Actually, I'll take it maybe one step further, or right in the same step. Yesterday, there were a collection of maintainers that met and were preparing to demo on the Dapper community call today. So Dapper is one of the 200 something projects that Meshery integrates with. That community, that project has been quite receptive to Meshery's integration and wants to learn more about it and participate. And great. As the team helped prepare for that discussion with them, centric to the discussion was going to be the relationships, the visual relationships, these relationships, how they're described, how Meshery treats Dapper components, how Meshery interrelates Dapper resources. And so the part of that process was creating relationships. most of that was relationship definitions. So these JSON definitions that utilize Rego policy underneath, while the team wasn't focused directly on the Rego policy, as they go to have a contributor experience and create new relationship definitions, there's a cycle of contributing. And part of that is testing things. So unit tests or even integration tests where we're flexing each of the these 10 Rego policies, really helpful and confidence inspiring as each time we go to merge a PR where someone has changed a relationship definition, the definitions that utilize these policies. So I was trying to tease out two things. I think one was the integration tests or the use of these in an automated fashion. The second was that contributor experience, like as someone like Chris specifically, actually a great example, as he changes these, enhances them, what's his process for, or what tooling, what contributor experience does the project have for him and others here? So it's, yeah, I mean, I think Chris is aware of this, but like it's one thing to have well-written generic Rego policy, great. And then it's hand in hand with that is the taking of a relationship definition. These relationship definitions just, they're very simple documents. They just say, Kubernetes pods contain containers. So one is the parent of the next. That's just a simple example of what these relationship definitions say. And for Chris, as he goes to verify that namespaces contain pods and other resources, what tooling and what process do we have there for him to, and I think we're kind of looking at it in this, or looking at the guts of it maybe in this PR. If we're performing linting during workflow, during build, and if maybe there's a unit test or two, or if there's an integration test or two, if we've got a few, it would be nice if things weren't necessarily fragile and sort of hand-coded, that like, okay, here's 8 different representative relationship definitions that are fairly core and centric to the policies, and they tend to flex all of the policy code or something. It would be quite nice if it was more like, well, I don't know, here's a big old bucket of 200 integrations with however many relationship definitions there are. And here's the 10, 15 policies. Let's load them all up into an instance and just, and it would be nice if it was a framework. Not something that we necessarily have to invent, something that those guys could help facilitate. So another good question for them. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was saying like we should have first like 2 simple checks. Like first is like whenever a relationship definition is created, we should allow to validate it against the schema, because most of the time it's just like a mistake is made there and we don't catch it. So that would be easy. And after that, it would be like testing those definitions against the policies as unit tests. So that can be also implemented when all of these have unit tests. So we can, maybe we don't need like probably a unit test for each of the relationship, for each of the policy, maybe a generic unit test that tests the relationship definition against the policy that it evaluates against. So I think that would be helpful with the user flow. And also like about a first question about the WASM constraints. So like some of the things like HTTP calls are not present in the WASM environment. So if you can directly make an HTTP request from the Rego code, but that function won't be available in the WASM environment. But still, that's not a breaking thing. Like if your Rego makes some constrained calls, you can give it an adapter to that. Like when you are running it inside WASM, you can give ports to those functionalities that are not directly present in WASM. So you can still use the same policy. So it's not like a breaking thing if you use something out of the WASM environment. You can still give it the JavaScript alternative of it, or if you are running like in whatever environment you are running the WASM code, because it can be, it's not only constrained to browsers, you can run it in any other environment. So that's why they are not providing those things directly.
Thank you, Avid and Chris. Is there anything we want to discuss, Chris? Anything more?
No, nothing else on this. I feel pretty good on this for now to keep kind of pushing it forward, and we'll continue to. And then I had one other item after this if we're ready to move on. Yeah, okay. This is just a question. I have been working on sort of the blog post for the new designs being published to Artifact Hub, and through that I was going to look at the documentation around how people can export designs and publish them to their own Artifact Hub. And then I just run into an issue exporting as an OCI bundle, and I was just wondering if there's any update on that.
Yeah, there have been some code change recently around OCI exports. So, Shlok,
Yeah,
you might have.
I have the update. I can share it. One sec. It was next on the list. So we have a support for Meshery CTL model export. And here you can select the type of what type of export you want from here. And then on the basis of it, you can export it as a OCI, a JSON file, or a YAML file, means the model. And the model contains everything that you are looking for, the components, the relationships. And this is regarding the model export. But here you might be talking about design. And for design, we have a command that is Meshery CTL pattern export. And in when we export from the UI, I haven't seen the error that we get while we export from the UI. Someone can create an issue. There's a command in Meshery CTL. So there's a command in Meshery CTL export where you can directly put in the ID or the name. And on the basis of that, you can export that particular pattern. So here's the example code, and you can just put in the name. If there are multiple patterns with the same name, so it will give you an option saying its ID, the author and everything, and you can accordingly download, export it as an OCI. So you can specify the design type.
Cool. Yeah, that's helpful too.
Yeah. And if you have any issue, you can ping me directly on Slack.
Yeah, also you can check if that is coming from the UI, because I think the behavior is kind of like I was able to export other designs, but I was specifically not able to export Krish design. The error was coming that it was not able to convert to the OCI. So if you can look into that, I wonder that is more related to the Meshery server.
Okay, I'll look into it. Thank you for mentioning it.
So for Chris, though, so he's trying to get a blog post out that articulates and gives an example of how to export, how to do what he's writing up in the blog post from the command line and from the UI, from both of Meshery's clients. And so while the CLI is there and is helpful, it's still the UI's functionality as a blocker for him to complete the. And so were you guys just suggesting that it's possible that the issue reside with specific designs inside the UI?
For me, that was happened yesterday. Like I was able to export my design without any error, but I wasn't able to do that for Chris design.
Yeah, I wonder, so Chris is probably particularly interested in published designs, those designs that end up in the catalog. And so that might be the difference between, his testing.
Yeah, I picked a random design off that, I hadn't built it. So maybe it was something about that particular one. So I can also do try some other designs and see if that could at least unblock me for now.
Yeah, but also if you do stumble upon that same one, we should still figure it out. Is that a corrupt design, or is there, Yeah,
I'll track what I find as I'm testing it.
Thank you, Chris. Surely this is something we will investigate. Okay, so
Right.
Aviral, sorry if I am pronouncing it not right. So you can share your screen.
Thank you, Yash, for the opportunity. Let me share the screen. Is my screen visible?
Yep, it is.
Okay. So I've been working upon this filter view command, which is of Meshery CTL. So the update was to make it possible to accept multi-world filters and the filter ID. So I've completed the multi-world filters. In this, I have changed the Cobra command. It was accepting maximum arguments to be one, and I have made it to be more than one arguments. And after that, just combining all the arguments to be the one argument, so that it can accept a multi-world filter, and made a test for it, so that made a test in the view underscore dot test dot go file, and checked it as it has passed. And made a fixture file for it, and also made a and this is the output generated from it. So yeah, it is working fine. And now currently I'm working upon the filter ID part. Not able to get the where the problem is coming from. It leads me to a do function in the client.go file. So, and I cannot add changes to it. That is a readme file only. Sorry, it is a read file only, so cannot make changes to it. But yeah,
It's a read file. So is it inside meshkit, or it might be some Go functions that
yeah, it is a Go function. So that is why it is a read file only, cannot update there. So actually, I'm trying to put some logs and print statements, so that I can lead to where the error is coming from, and cannot do it. And it leads me to the do file. The error is coming from there only.
Okay,
We
so ping me on Slack. We are low on time. I'll update there, and you can remove these golden files. So these are not needed. We are just matching a singular. You can remove the test case only completely. We'll need to write new test cases. So yeah,
from where I need to remove the test case.
you can remove those golden files and the view underscore test.go file, and you can
Okay,
see if it's working fine.
okay.
How we are doing the test in the log?
Abid, actually, currently we are having only these unit tests was there for Meshery CTL, and we are making the Meshery CTL to see if the Meshery CTL builds properly. And regarding the specific unit test, we were just matching a data with another data, and that was not appropriate, because you need to match if the flags support the case sensitive are not case sensitive, and if the user can input in various ways. So the test should be written like that, and I haven't created a test for a particular command, so that we can roll out more tests and ask other contributors. So I'll be doing that, creating a test for a command, and then other contributors can start working on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we should, as we are not doing this golden test, we should then start using proper unit tests and integration tests there.
Yeah, I'll start writing them up.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Shalok. Thank you, Aviral. Is there any other review for Aviral?
No, just I wanted to say that one part of it is I have completed, and the other part is ID is, and currently I'm working upon it. So I'll ping Shlok to coordinate with him.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Aviral. So next is me. So I will share my screen. Okay, so my update was just to make sure that whenever we publish a design um, from the Meshery or the playground, we add them in the Meshery.io as in the catalog, so that artifact hub can index them in the artifact. There was issue that whenever a design get republished, we were rewriting the artifact hub package file instead of persisting the previous version and having a new version. So this change will make sure that in the catalog directory, we have this structure which was given by the artifact hub itself. In this, if you will republish our design, we will persist the previous one and create a new version which we are getting from the API itself, and create a new artifact of package file and design, so that it can get re-indexed with a new version and with the new update. and previous ones will get persisted. So that was the main thing which this PR makes sure we do. Other than that, there was one issue which was that created ad property was getting updated every time. So whenever ad catalog was making a commit, the diff was too long and too big because of created ad property getting updated for all the artifact package file. So I just make sure that created ad property coming from the API itself, which reduces the diff in the commit. So if there is any review on this.
Any residual issues? So all of the stagnated or broken links in Artifact Hub, are those gone?
Oh, no, for that I haven't raised the PR. I was working on something else, but that issue was only for 5 designs, and it was coming because the special character which are like slash or double hyphen or triple hyphen we have in the design.
Okay,
So,
I got you. Yep. So turns out like the name of the design, if for Meshery and for Meshery's catalog, it's a string. We don't use names as identifiers because that is such a stupid thing to do. And yet many systems do it, like Artifact Hub, apparently. So if there's special characters, that'll get in the way. And
Yeah.
so actually what you're bringing up right now is exactly the thing my last comment real fast was going to be that Mr. Carter on the call, if you don't have access to the back end, the control panel for these repositories, Chris is someone that you could see for access within Artifact Hub, to look at the processes by which it.
Yeah. So for that issue, like we will solidify and make sure that for Artifact Hub file itself, we will make sure we replace that slash and double hyphen or triple hyphen, these kind of special character with single hyphen. It will fix the issue for the Artifact Hub, and other special character like brackets are taken care already. So there are a few only characters.
Now for Akshay, who's on the phone, there's the meshery.io/catalog. And so that catalog has all of the same, about 200 designs, the same that are being pushed to Artifact Hub. Akshay was recently working within Meshery.io catalog, which is Jekyll based. He was working with himself and maybe some others to ensure that there was SEO is being considered for those pages. Part of that includes the URL, and that the URL would have the design name slugified. So, or the design name with hyphens between each of the words. So very relevant to your fix. It would be, since you're in there and doing this already, like Akshay, did you guys already figure out a new slugification maybe of the design name and having those in the URL? Slugification, I'm sure that's a word, by the way.
Yeah, I think Vivek is working on it currently.
Okay. Any other update other than that? Can
No.
He is otherwise entangled and not able to join for the next couple more weeks. But he is working. He's not able to join the meetings, but he's working. Yeah, if you don't mind seeing it through. And that's actually the reason that I asked you in the first place, is because you're a see it through kind of guy.
Sure.
Which is great. Okay. Yeah, good. Any other, but just, okay, on that topic, anything else that you're aware of that was decided here in terms of SEO?
I think some of them I already added, like adding the description of different design based on what is opened up. and then the descriptions of the metadata changes itself. And
Okay.
I suggested Vivek to use the same plugin that we use in Jekyll, the Jekyll SEO tag, and enhancing its ability because there were some advanced usage as well. And I created, and there were a few tasks created as well in Meshery.io, I think, a few issues. Um, yep, and I will follow up with him about what the updates are.
Yeah, also there are like few contributors working on making sure that we fix this filter section also. Like currently there are some issues, and they are also already raised. Yeah, so you can like connect with them because they already fixed it. So they can help you with the process to make sure that if you have many things in your plate. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the next topic. I have to reshare my screen. Next topic is from Uzair on the schema-driven development. I think he's not here right now. So if someone else want to cover it, or we will cover it later.
Yeah, we sure can. Maybe instead of that, I'll make a quick call out just to everyone that's on the call. And so everybody that's on the call and can hear this, if you're here, which means that you can hear me, then, and you are either A, confused, or B, bored, or C, looking for an area to contribute to, but aren't quite sure where that might be or who to talk to, or like any of those situations are not good and we want to get them fixed. You might be here just to use the tools. Please do. And be a whiner when you do. That type of feedback is very, very helpful. If you're using the tools and they don't do it, you think they should, please say it. If you're here to contribute and you're not quite sure where to jump in, be loud. Like reach out, be loud, keep asking until you get connected, until you get a foothold on something. Specifically, there's a meeting tomorrow. Every week on Thursday, there's a newcomers meeting. You can go to it as many times, or you should go to it as many times as is necessary until you finally get that foothold and you start to find a rhythm. And even after that, you should probably keep going. And eventually, maybe you should be presenting on that call, welcoming other newcomers. So good. So I figured I would just take Uzair's spot just to say that real quick, because I suspect there might be folks out there that. Great. So by the way, all right. So hey, on Uzair Sheikh, he had a topic today in the agenda. His agenda item is this schema-driven development. As a project, we have lots of, Meshery has lots of resources, lots of logical constructs that the software is formed around. Those constructs are, those logical objects are defined in formal JSON schemas so that there's an official representation of what that object is. That formal description becomes foundational for all of the variety of subsystems and components that comprise Meshery and its extensions, for them all to use a common definition, a common understanding of these logical objects. So, for example, a design, if you've made a Meshery design, we were just talking about importing and exporting designs. Well, that's a logical object in Meshery, a Meshery design. It's a made up thing that you all made up. And it turns out it's an important thing. And we want to have it represented in a consistent way across from the JavaScript that uses it and understands it, from the Golang that uses it and understands it, from the REST API to the GraphQL API there's lots and lots of places, to the database that tables that store it, store designs. So as a project, it's not a small project, Meshery. We're trying to build in some process. We refer to it as being as schema-driven development. So each of these resources, these logical objects, have a schema. Let's be purposeful, or we're attempting to be purposeful with how we utilize that schema. In the Meshery GitHub organization, there's a repository called schemas. It's a pretty boring repository. I think anytime you're looking at a schema or a specification, is usually pretty boring, at least for me, because it's sometimes abstract. There's a whole repository, though, for persisting the definition, the formal definition of these JSON schemas, these logical objects. And so that's what Uzair's topic was today, is just how are we going about the business of being schema driven? What are some of those milestones look like? And if this topic interests you, by the way, every 2 weeks, there's a Meshery build and release meeting or a Meshery CI meeting, continuous integration, every 2 weeks on Thursdays. That's an excellent meeting to join, to dig into a lot of what's in here, the various tooling that gets used, publishing of the API docs. Like, there's a lot in here. Anybody else does this interest anyone? And does anybody else have comment? Thanks. If you do, you think about it later, just message him.
Thank you, Lee, for explaining it. Let's go to the next topic. Kenneth, maybe you would like to share your screen and share update on fixed responsiveness on remote provider UI.
Okay, I'm trying to share my screen. Okay, so the fix was for responsiveness on this remote providers page, this particular page. So previously the page was not responsive enough because of these URLs and the items in the field. So they were not breaking. The pages, the items will not break as the page, like along with the page. So that was what I fixed in my So currently it's responsive.
Yeah, most excellent, Kenneth. Some other folks on the call might have spoken up had I kept my mouth shut. They might have suggested that when you get into that constrained width environment, when you get pretty tight, that the luxury of the gutters, the luxury of that white space, the padding on either side of the table, well, that kind of goes away, and you just don't have the room for it. So if you squeeze down the width of your browser one more time, and then if you were to imagine that the white space on either side of the information, if that goes away, when you have multi-line information, cool. If you squeeze it down even more, like as if you were on mobile, like squeeze it like you're on a diet, okay. And yeah, if you scroll down, there you go, like the package URL or some of these, it's like, oh man, it's pretty tough to read. So if you dropped the padding on either side, that would be one way of making things a little more breathable, readable. What do you think?
Okay. Well, I was following the designs on the Figma file, so I didn't consider that before.
Got you. Yep. Not your fault. But you're here to fix it anyway, so that's wonderful.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
Thank you. Anybody else have comments for Kenneth? keep up the good work, I think is what they're saying. It's great.
Thank you, Kenneth. Is there anything you want to share?
No, nothing else.
Let me share my screen. Avani, I think you are next on your learning part topic. You can share a screen. Is Avani with us today?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I I decided to just restructure everything and do a more comprehensive outline to help me be faster, to help me faster with writing out the documentation for the learning part. So for the interpreting Meshery designs, from the feedback I got yesterday, I divided it into two. So the legend and the actual interpretation of the design. So for the legend, so the target audience would be people looking to dig deeper. So questions like what exactly are the components, the design standards, why the normal Kubernetes icons were not used, and what the colors represent for the Kubernetes resources, the integration components, annotations, relationships. So this one will just be a comprehensive legend, basically, with the SVGs from the Figma file. Then this one would typically have examples. So the target audience, target audience would be so let's say you've just cloned a design from catalog, or that's basically, or you imported a design from the manifest. So basically any design you're working on Canvas, then also the GitHub PR design. And then, so this would basically focus on a lot of other things. So how to interpret this design, how to identify these components. So this particular one is going to reference the legend for the Kubernetes resources on how to identify the components, then so refer to the legend, then other ways to identify the components. That's searching on the doc, opening the configuration tab, then annotations, how to identify annotations, and some use cases for annotations with examples. And so this side will cover annotation. So like, let's say arrows now, it will probably cover something like how would you be able to differentiate this kind of arrow from the relationship arrows that show edge relationships. So the relationship section here will go through how to interpret relationships. So the edge relationships, sibling relationships, then another section for grouping components, how you'll be able to interpret a design like that. Then other things like comments, then design errors. So then custom components too. So in this area, it will basically cover things like, so let's say the Kubernetes, let's say you decide to change the default color to red to signify something else. So let's say, for example, a killed pod or something. So just basically examples like that. So I just wrote this down and just to clarify everything, and I'll be able to go further on it today. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've got. I know we're really tight on time, so I'm just gonna toss this in because what Awani was just talking about. First of all, she's off trying to write a big old long document, a learning path, a multi-chapter, many, like a couple of course path to mastering Meshery. And it starts off with just an introduction to Meshery. And she has just started. So if you're, I'll do it again. I'll call out for contributors. Like if you're here and as you're discovering and learning Meshery, if you think you want to help write a learning path or help write a couple of sections, I dropped a link in the Zoom chat to a document that has an outline of that. Make a comment, drop your name, take a crack at it. Contact Awani. The second thing I'll say is Awani was the document she was just reviewing. It's called Interpreting Meshery Designs. I'm curious, how many of you have ever seen a Meshery design like this one? This is just a snapshot, an image on a GitHub PR. How many of you have ever seen this and wondered what the heck you're looking at? Oh, it's intriguing. I have no idea what I'm looking at. This has something to do with people, maybe, I'm guessing. Well, Awani's trying to answer that question, and actually she needs your help. Whether you want to help write that document that she's doing or just offer feedback on it, or just ask questions like, is it meaningful that the whole darn thing is blue? Why? Who is in love with blue here? Why are we only using blue? Is that significant or not? In this particular case, there's a link here that when clicked would help sort of explain this. And that's what Awani is working toward, is a new document, a new link that would tell people, answer those questions like, what is the meaning of blue? Why is that a circle and that's a rectangle? I don't what. So, Kenneth, were you raising your hand just now as a potential point of interest for you? Or is that a point of interest for anyone else on the call?
If you have any interest, like you can share later in the Slack. Check. You can also check out the show shared in the chat. So thank you, Avani. That's something a great work she's doing, and we are on time, everyone. So I will wait for 5 more seconds if there is something urgent we want to discuss. Otherwise, we will wrap up today's call. So if there is anything we want to discuss. Okay. Considering there is not any urgent item, I will make a small call, which is that we have a Meshery build and release meeting tomorrow. So if you have any interest in CI/CD, Kubernetes stuff, deploying and kind of stuff, tests, writing test or reviewing test, we will be discussing all of those stuff in tomorrow's Meshery build and release meeting. You can check out the link in layerfab/community/calendar for the link and Zoom link. We do also have a newcomers meeting, which we discussed in the initial time of the call. So you can check out the newcomers meeting also, which is great for you to connect with maintainers and others, community members and managers. So thank you all, everyone, for joining us today. We have gone through many of the items, and we also missed a couple of items at last. So we will be discussing that next week, same time. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.